Hey guys, welcome back to Garage Football. Here's our reaction to our 2020-2021 season predictions. So please subscribe to Garage Football if you're new, and let us know your thoughts, comments, etc. in the comments below. It'd be great to read those. So we've got plenty of predictions to get through, Ryan. How right we were, and well, in some occasions, how badly wrong we were. So we'll start off in the relegation zone and work our way upwards. So let's start off with the bottom side there, which surprisingly was Sheffield United, mate. We both thought they'd stay up, but it was the classic second season syndrome, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Just thought they, because they shocked us the year before when we did our season predictions the year before. I thought they would have another good season. In fact, I think you predicted them to be what, 13th. I said they were going to be ninth. So
nice one to start off this review.
Yeah,
start off out of the gate. Yeah,
but yeah, terrible season for them really, and wonder how they're going in the championship really.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they've sacked Chris Wilder, which is a shame. Obviously, probably their greatest ever manager, but it doesn't help, mate, that if you don't get a win to your 18th attempt, which they did against Newcastle. You're always going to struggle on. You only scored 20 goals and some bad signings, Ryan Brewster being one of them. So, yeah, if you only get 7 wins and 2 draws, then obviously that's nowhere near going to be good enough. So, yeah, bottom of the pile, and yeah, both got that a bit wrong. So, but slightly better on the next team. That was 19th. So West Brom. We both thought they'd get relegated. I thought they'd finish 19th, and that's exactly where they did. And you thought they'd finish bottom, but one place out. You still thought they'd get the logo down, and in the end, they didn't really have enough, did they?
No, and probably a bit harsh at first, sacking Bilic, and getting Big Sam in. Everyone thought, okay, he'll be the man to keep them up. He's never been relegated before, has he? So. But I don't even think Big Sam could make a difference. Anyone could. I think it was a falling team, and like I say, yeah, I think that they need some sort of change of the squad, don't they? They need some sort of injection next season if they're going to try and push to come back in the Premier League. So yeah, I didn't really have any high hopes for West Brom this year, and we were both pretty much right with our predictions.
Yeah, exactly. I think I agree, mate. It was harsh to sack Slaven Bilic, and yeah, even Big Sam with his his credentials as a manager and his record at keeping sides up. Even he was going to struggle with West Brom, and he did with essentially a championship squad. And I think they should have done what Norwich have done, and stuck with their manager. And obviously they've bounced back. I'm going to be in the Prem next season, so. Yeah, I think it was harsh, and they had a couple stand-up performers, Sam Johnson in goal, and Mateus Pereira. They've both done really well, and I think they'll move on this summer. But yeah, they were never really going to have enough. So yeah, we both got it right in terms of relegation. So let's move on to 18th, mate.
Yeah, so I got this team right. I predicted they finished 18th, and that was Fulham. You thought they'd get relegated as well. You thought they'd be 20th. So we both weren't, we were both pretty much right with our prediction that they'd get relegated. Felt a bit sorry, really, for Parker. I like him as a manager, but never like to see people get relegated. They look way off the pace in the opening few games, and a lot of people, I think, in the first sort of 4 or 5 games predicted. I mean, one of the pundits on Sky Sports said, "I guarantee."
Yeah, Jamie Carragher, MNF. Yeah,
yeah. I actually thought, crikey, that's an bold statement already.
No, it was true though. The way they were looking looked all at sea, but they did improve afterwards. Yeah.
So no surprises there. Yeah, Fulham 18th. What about 17th?
Yeah. So yeah, Burnley finished 17th, and even though they didn't win in their first 7 games, they always feel they've got enough to stay up, especially with Sean Dyche in charge, and you've got a goalkeeper, Nick Pope, and a centre back pairing off Tarkowski and Ben Mee, and that's more than good enough for this division. And Chris Wood, not for the first time, he got double figures, got 12 this season, and they were vital in the end. Yeah, what are your thoughts on Burnley this season?
Yeah, obviously not their strongest of seasons. I mean, I'm glad they didn't get relegated. I'm got a soft spot for Dyche, really. I think he's a great manager, but they did just enough to stay up. But we both predicted that they'd do a lot better. I mean, I predicted they'd finish 13th. You said 12th. So let's just hope they do better next season. And then obviously going into 16th, Brighton. So I actually got that right.
Yeah, we both did. We both did.
Yeah, we both did actually. We both said Brighton 16th. So another season of progression under Graham Potter. I mean, lost 15 games, same as last season. So average possession, I've got some stats here, 50.7% and 12.8 shots per game. So, I mean, what's your thoughts on Brighton this year?
Yeah, no, I'm really impressed with the job that Graham Potter's done. He was good the previous season, and I think he's built on it. The only thing that Brighton are missing, because they dominate a lot of games. As you said, with the possession stats, the amount of shots they have per game, that's nearly 13 a game, is absolutely ridiculous for a team that are essentially fighting relegation. It's just they're missing that goal scorer. I think it was great to see Danny Welbeck fit and contributing, but they keep the ball brilliantly. Just can't really stick the ball in the back of the net. So, but no, we're really good. I'm really impressed with the job that Graham Potter's doing there.
No, definitely. Going to 15th, Southampton. I wasn't a million miles off. I predicted 14th. You said 10th. So, but yeah, I mean, looked to be on course, for a top half finish. They were 6th after beating Liverpool in January. But injuries, 6 defeats in a row. And I've got some notes in front of me. I forget this. A 9-0 defeat to Man United.
Yeah, not the first 9-0 they've had recently.
No, but a shocking cost to them, conceding 68 goals, more than Fulham and Sheffield United. So, I mean, they looked a bit stronger as well with, Walcott as well. When they played against Arsenal, I thought he's gone back there and he's finding himself again. But not a dreadful season, but not a great season. Bit sort of average for them, really. What would you say?
Yeah, I think it could have been so much better, mate. As you said, at the start of this calendar year, January time, when they beat Liverpool and they look to be in the contention for the European place, along with the likes of West Ham and Everton, who we'll come on to. But injuries just wrecked their season. I think at one stage they had a whole 11 players injured. So and obviously the 9-0 defeat among those 6 in a row. But I think Hasenhüttl's doing a good job there. Just need some more reinvestment and. They've got some deadwood there, Southampton, but they've got some good things going for them. So hopefully they'll one of as many players in the treatment table next season. So so now I was on course to sort of match my prediction for Southampton, but in the end they fell away. But I had enough to stay up in the end. So let's move on to 14th. That's Crystal Palace. Not for the first time, a steady season for Palace. I thought they'd just stay up 17th. And you thought they'd go down, mate. What were your thoughts on Palace?
Yeah, I thought the season before they didn't look that, they were quite boring with their sort of play, really. I just felt with other teams like Villa and Fulham, and I just thought other teams would sort of push them, and I just didn't think they'd have enough this year. But they surprised me in that sense. They had a steady season overall. Just had enough to stay up. Decent season for Roy Hodgson to kind of retire on, really. Sort of say goodbye. And, all things considered, not a bad season, really, for them. But, I'm glad they didn't go down, considering that, Roy Hodgson was going to retire. There are times when you prove wrong, and I'd say I was proved wrong on this occasion.
Yeah, they had a good start. Obviously, they beat Man United early on at Old Trafford, where they looked really good, and Wolf Sahanov for the first time was instrumental in this season, and Eze from QPR, their new signing, done very well, and player who's been in the doldrums last couple of seasons, Christian Benteke, he sort of rolled back the years, got got double figures this season. So I think that those 3 in particular were vital. But it's a big job for whoever takes over at Palace, because they've got an aging squad and many players out of contract. So it's going to be a tough ask for someone to follow Roy Hodgson's great job there.
No, exactly. It'd be interesting to see who gets the job. Would it be Frank Lampard or? So no, we'll have to watch this space, really.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. So 13th, Wolves. We both actually predicted that they would finish 8th, didn't we? So we both slightly wrong there. Didn't quite reach the heights of last season. Again, I think they sort of had injuries which affected them, and yeah, they sort of lost the pace and momentum that they had, the last couple of seasons. I mean, what's your thoughts on Wolves this year? Really, bit surprising that they weren't in the top 10.
Yeah, I think they, I think selling Jota before, I think it was either before the season or after a couple of games in to Liverpool. I think that was a big blow, and that and a horrible injury to Raul Jimenez, which you got against Arsenal, sort of derailed their season really, and there were injuries to Johnny, for example, as well, and Nuno switched from their normal back three to a back four at times, and yeah, they just seems as it just fizzled out really. Never relegation trouble, but yeah, obviously they're not quite contending for Europe as they did before. But again, like Crystal Palace, a big job because Nuno's left now. Did a brilliant job at Wolves. Obviously, get promoted and then a couple of seventh place finishes. So yeah, hopefully Jimenez comes back better than ever. And but yeah, they need to invest in the summer, otherwise they'll possibly sink even lower.
Yeah, exactly. Well, now they haven't got Nuno. It's gonna, a big leader there. It's gonna definitely change things. So, what about 12th?
Yeah, 12th. Yeah, 12th Newcastle. Yeah, I mean, I thought they'd sort of finish, 15th, and well, you did as well, mate.
Yeah,
But in the
both said
end,
15th.
and in the end, they just slightly better. But for a while, they struggled, didn't they? For the majority of the season. But yeah, what are your thoughts on Newcastle?
Yeah, they did struggle. A bit up and down for them. A lot of fans might not be satisfied with the performance overall, but yeah, considering we both predicted 15th, and I think a lot of people were writing them off last season anyway. I'd say 12th isn't a bad season, all things considered, for them. Yes, they need to improve. That they need to up their standards, but all things considered, to finish 12th, if they can sort of find some sort of momentum for next season, maybe some more investment. But we all know Mike Ashley, is he going to do much? That's the problem. So it's a tough job for anyone other than Benitez, who really I think was a perfect manager for Newcastle. It's a tough job to have Newcastle without the investment at the moment. So I think Steve Bruce is a bit underrated, in my opinion.
Oh, was expecting you to say that?
I would say so. Don't get wrong, he's not world class, but all things considered, considering no one wanted him in and morale was gone and Newcastle were pushing, almost fighting relegation at one point. He's to come 12th, I'd say it's not a bad season, but I know the Newcastle fans won't take that, so it's kind of a bit of an average season, really.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been so much worse, mate. I mean, they that awful 3-0 defeat away at Brighton. You thought then, there's only one way they're going to go, and that's down. And for one stage, it looked like Fulham, they were on the rise, and there was only a point or two between them, and they played each other on the last day, and then looked at one stage that was going to be like a classic relegation 6-pointer. In the end, not quite, because Newcastle had a really good end to the season, but it was that bust up at the training ground with Matt Ritchie and Steve Bruce. But yeah, they seem to make them stronger, if anything. Joe Willock, loan signing from Arsenal, he did brilliantly. Callum Wilson signed last summer, he did very well. Yeah, and they got some wins at against West Ham and Leicester at the end of the season. So yeah, did enough in the end to stay up. But you feel if it's going to be the same again next season if Steve Bruce is in charge. So let's move on to 11th.
11th, yeah. So we both got this wrong, mate. Aston Villa. So I mean, you said 18th. You said they were going to get relegated, and I said they were just about going to stay up at 17th. So much improved for Villa this season. Really, really. I mean, Martinez, how good was he? I mean, I was so gutted that Arsenal got rid of him. 15 clean sheets. Watkins, 14 goals. Just Grealish as well. Just a great team. Really, really good team. So I think they're going to bounce forward and do better. Obviously, this isn't a predictions video on this video. We'll do that in the next one. But I think there's good signs for Villa, really. And I think we're both shocked, really, with how well they did. I mean, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think, when we recorded our season predictions at the time. They hadn't made a huge amount of signings. I think they signed Matty Cash at the time. I didn't think that was enough to. He did well, Matty Cash, this season, but I didn't think he'd solve their problems. But we recorded it before they signed Martinez, and on the day when we were editing, they actually signed Watkins officially. So if they made all those signings before then no way would I have predicted that they'd go down. But such is the nature of the predictions videos and the transfer window still going on while while the season starts. But very very good. Considering they were fighting relegation last season, they on course for a top half finish for a lot of the season. Just fell away a little bit, but Jack Grealish obviously getting injured didn't help them. But El Ghazi got 10 goals as well. The winger, and really good signs for Villa. So I'm sure they'll be looking to building it for next season. So let's move into the top 10 now, mate. So it was Everton who finished 10th. You thought they'd finish 12th, and I thought they finished 9th, so I wasn't too far off. But in the end, mate, finishing 10th, you've got to say, would be quite disappointing for Everton. They were fighting for Champions League places at one stage, weren't they?
Oh, absolutely, with a lot of hype as well, big manager. On one hand, you could argue a top 10 finish for Everton. Not bad, but I think with all things considered, yeah, they probably would have wanted to sort of at least get in the Europa League, or now the Conference League as well, which you'd like to think they could even get into that.
A couple of their sides did well, Decore and Alan. Injuries aside, they did pretty well. Calvert-Lewin was excellent again, 16 goals this season. And James Rodriguez, unfortunately suffered his injuries, but he looked really good when he did play. They've got some deadwood to get rid of, but I think they've expect good things from Everton next season. And but they've got to improve their home form. I think they're one of the teams that badly missed the crowds this season. Goodison Park, they only got 6 wins at home in comparison to 11 away. So need to improve that next season. I'm sure they will. But at least they won't fight relegation. Have to sack a manager for the first time in a while.
No, 100%. So yeah, on to 9th, Leeds. I mean, what a return, to the Premier League for Leeds. I was, we're not Leeds fans, are we? But I think we could both agree that back in the day, gutted when they got relegated, and it was sad to see that eventually at one point they went down to League One, didn't they?
Yeah.
So great to see them back in the Premier League, but to finish 9th, I think was a great season. I mean, I predicted 10th, so not a million miles off. You said 11th, so we weren't far off our predictions for Leeds. I think we both felt they'd have some sort of momentum in their first season, and they did, and if not a little bit more. Obviously, their high energy attacking play was a breath of fresh air this season. Patrick Bamford proved that he's Premier League quality with 17 goals. So, really good team to sort of expand and go places. I mean, what's your thoughts with Leeds?
Yeah, I wasn't too far from. Well, we both weren't too far from what we in terms of league positions, and they were my surprise team for this season. I thought they would surprise a few sides with as you mentioned there, high energy attacking play, and Marcelo Bielsa's philosophy, and he's a lot better than a lot of the other Premier League managers, and I think he showed that this season. And Patrick Bamford, he's had a few loan spells at different Prem clubs, and obviously he was at Chelsea. Couldn't really see him cutting it in this league, but no, he's proved everyone wrong. And a lot of players stood out. Rodrigo, Rafinha, even the more sort of understated players, Liam Cooper and Stuart Dallas, those kind of players. No, they've done really well, Leeds, and I think they're building it for next season. And I bet they can't wait to have the crowds back. I think the Leeds fans absolutely awesome from what I hear. So it'd be great to see the crowds back at Ellen Road next season. So 9th, a brilliant return for Leeds. So let's move on to 8th.
That's not.
Yeah. So your team, mate, Arsenal. What a season to forget, mate. They were your surprise team for this season, and in the end, it was surprising how poor they were.
Mate, at one point, we had a bit of a relegation battle on our hands. It was Big Sam said Arsenal will go down at one point. But ironically, we made Big Sam go down, so we're But I just think shocking season. it's tough. You know, it's a really hard one with Arsenal. You know, only scored 55 goals. I do agree. You know, we were talking, obviously, Arteta, probably one of the luckiest managers to still be in a job. But they did sort of turn it around second half of the season. It's a tough one with Arsenal because it's not just about. I'm talking now very in a biased way as an Arsenal fan. It's not just about the manager. Yes, obviously you do need the right manager to motivate them, and I do think there is someone better out there than Arteta. I'm not getting away from that, but there's only so much anyone can do with the sort of lack of backing we're getting from the board. It's clear that the fans want, you know, the Cronkies out. It'd be great if Daniel Ek can come in and buy Arsenal out with Henry, Vieira, and Bergkamp, and maybe they can push on. Is Arteta the man? We'll see. But yeah, I just think at the end of the day, we can find all excuses, but there's nothing that can be said. Poor season, poor season.
Yeah, I think you know, some of the youngsters were their bright spots this season. You know, Emil Smith Rowe and Bukayo Saka. You know, they both played in that. You know, the famous 3-1 victory against Chelsea, which, you know, did turn around their season. But you know, enough said about the second leg in the Europa League semi-final against Villarreal. The better, really. But
shocking.
Yeah.
What did we predict? I said, I said fourth.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Wow, I mean, that was in the end very optimistic. Even myself, I said fifth for Arsenal. I thought, you know, he built on the FA Cup run and their record against the big sides, but now they've regressed badly. And yeah, unless they get some good signings, you know, I don't think they'll improve much next season, to be honest. Yeah, let's move on to seventh, and it wasn't much better for Arsenal's rivals, Tottenham, mate. You know, great start to the season. They were top of the table in November. You know, I did that video at the time with John Cross from the Daily Mirror. There was chat, can Tottenham go on and win the league? And obviously they spectacularly fell away with, you know, Jose Mourinho getting the sack for the Carabao Cup final. But yeah, obviously as a West Ham fan and you as an Arsenal fan, we're pretty happy that Tottenham didn't do that great this season. But your thoughts overall how they did?
Yeah, for Tottenham, shocking. Even though they finished above Arsenal and got in the Conference League last minute, so they got in Europe, Arsenal didn't. Even to Tottenham standards, it wasn't exactly a great season. I think it was shocking that they got rid of Poch, and I think it was shocking that they got rid of Mourinho. I think both decisions were bad. It's just it just goes to show how ruthless this game is. You know, you can have a bad form, and then all of a sudden you're out. You can be close to being in the top four, challenging for the title, and then it doesn't go to plan, and you're out. And I do think it's harsh, but seventh was probably the best that they were going to finish, all things considered. But again, it's another thing now. Who do they get in?
No, we'll see how it goes, mate. It's a big summer, for a lot of clubs, it's a big summer for Tottenham. You got it right. You got your prediction spot on, mate. They finished seventh, and I wasn't too far off before they finished sixth. But yeah, Harry Kane and Son, they were the ones who stood out. You know, Højbjerg, you know, signed from Southampton, he did pretty decently, but yeah, their defense is not good enough, as proven this season. So big summer ahead. Obviously, trying to keep Kane and the other players, and trying to get a good manager, whether it's Pochettino or someone else. So yeah, big summer ahead for Tottenham.
Yeah, no, definitely. Sixth, unbelievable, yes. I can't believe I'm looking at West Ham finishing sixth. I mean, just really, really good. I mean, I predicted, what did I say West Ham would finish? I said 11th, which I would have said would have been a good season for West Ham. I think you'd have taken 11th if that was the West Ham fan. What did you predict? You predicted 14th.
14th, mate, yeah.
So I wasn't very optimistic, was you, going into it?
No.
So, I'm going to leave it over to you, mate. What's your thoughts on West Ham this season?
Yeah, absolutely unbelievable, mate. Yeah, as I said in the predictions, 14th, I thought was being optimistic, really. You know, at the time we hadn't made many signings, and there was discontent with the board, as there's been for a while, and you know, selling players like, you know, Grady Dean Garner and etc. I thought, well, and we only just stayed up the previous season as well. I thought, well, where are we going? And we got off to a terrible start against Newcastle. Absolutely shocking performance on the opening day, but we improved afterwards. And, you know, our signings we made in the summer were excellent in general. You know, signing Tomas Souček permanently was a real coup. He did brilliantly this season. His Czech teammate Sufal at right back was awesome for only £5 million as well. He was absolutely brilliant. The loan signing and then now permanent signing of Craig Dawson was met with scepticism by myself and a lot of West Ham fans, but he's really proved us wrong. He's been outstanding, and the loan signing of Jesse Lingard, his best scoring season. He scored 9 in 16 games to propel us to Europe. So unbelievable, mate. It's just a shame that couldn't go to as a senior goal. He couldn't go sending the games this season. So a brilliant turnaround from last season. Then all credit must go to David Moyes, the staff, including Stuart Pearce, Alan Irvine, Kevin Nolan, and the players. They've given everything and put some brilliant performances and showed that real grit and determination, which is all we asked for as West Ham fans. But we haven't had that since probably the last season at Upton Park. I just hope that we can build on it, because every time we have a good season, we seem to fall away the following season. I just hope we don't fall away, and the board need to back Moyes. But with these owners, I think we all know what we're going to get with them. They're going to try and penny pinch and do it on the cheap. So I hope he does get back, because we've got a very thin squad and we need to add to it, especially as playing in the Europa League group stages next season, which I'm looking forward to going. But it's made us tough to beat, and we've got a squad full of players who want to be there and play for the badge. It's been outstanding. I don't buy this theory that TalkSport and other stations have said where it's helped West Ham that the crowd haven't been there. I don't buy that for 1 second. I think that the crowd would have helped in certain games, especially like the Arsenal game, the 3-3, and maybe the Chelsea defeat near the end of the season. But our home record was absolutely awesome. It was second best home record in the league. So obviously shows the players are getting used to playing at London Stadium now. No,
definitely, and you can look forward to the European games next year. So on to fifth.
Yeah, the other side of the Europa League, Leicester City. Another if only season in the Premier League for Leicester. Won the FA Cup, which was a brilliant achievement. Brendan Rodgers doing a great job there. But yeah, your thoughts on Leicester, mate?
Great season for Leicester. I predicted that they'd be sixth. I mean, you said seventh. So, won the FA Cup. I think if you go back and you ask the fans, what would you have preferred, top four and now FA Cup? It's got to be the FA Cup, isn't it? All day long, because that's people are back on it, and that's a great moment, part of history. They've won the Premier League a few years ago, and now they've won the FA Cup. Amazing for Brendan Rodgers and amazing for the fans, and great to see the owner get involved. But from a league perspective, I can understand that they were disappointed that they just missed the top four. Very disappointing for them last game. But fifth, I think a very good season for them. I mean, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, no, exactly. So, still an excellent season for Leicester, winning the FA Cup for the first time in the history, and, playing well, and, the likes of, Kelechi Iheanacho having the season of his life of 12 goals. But it was their home form, mate, that really let them down. They lost 9 times at home, including to sides like, Fulham and Newcastle. So, and even on the last day against Tottenham, they had it in their hands. They were leading on the day, and they go on and lose. So, but that's still a very good season for Leicester, and continues the great job that Brendan Rodgers is doing there.
Yeah, no, definitely. So fourth, Chelsea. So obviously they, got one over Leicester and came fourth. I said they were going to be fifth. You said they'd be third. So we weren't a million miles away, although I thought Arsenal would be above Chelsea.
That's a stinker, mate.
But, big money spent in the summer, over 200 million. But Frank Lampard couldn't get it right, and he was sacked in January. I was a little bit gutted for him. I still felt he needed time, personally. I think, what did you expect? It was kind of a rebuild for Chelsea. But obviously the stats don't lie. He wasn't having a great time, was he, towards that period? Tuchel obviously transferred the team and, has won the Champions League. Is it the management, or was it, was he just kind of just adjusting what Frank Lampard had set out. Really, we'll never really know, but can't take anything away from him. He's a fantastic manager, and getting him in the top four and winning the Champions League, superb season for Chelsea. I mean, what's your thought?
Yeah, it turned into a great season for Chelsea in the end. But yeah, they were going nowhere under Frank Lampard, and I think bringing in Thomas Tuchel has shown the difference that managers can make with the same group of players, turn them from defensively unorganised and all over the place to a really solid outfit as shown in the Champions League final. And yeah, Thomas Tuchel was one of the best managers in the world, and Frank Lampard is a novice, and the results have proven that. So yeah, he's turned him to the second best defensive record in the league, but I think their top scorer was Jorginho, who obviously takes their penalties. So despite that, they've got in the top four and won the Champions League, and but you expect the likes of Timo Werner to do better next season, and he scored in the final, and I think he got better towards the end. So yeah, I think Chelsea will, if they carry on, get a couple of additions in, they'll be right up there challenging for the title. You'd like to think.
I think so. I think they'll be up there challenging next season. Obviously, we'll do that in the next video, talking about predictions for next season. But yeah, although I just said a minute ago, I did think at the time it was harsh. Give managers a bit of time. It was clear that obviously Lampard, like you say, a bit of a novice, lacked the experience. And with the same players, look what he got: top four, Champions League. So I'm sure the fans and the owner have got no regrets over their decision. So good season for Chelsea. So over to third.
Yeah, third was Liverpool, and I thought they'd win the league, and you thought they'd finish second, and for a while, mate, the injuries just really derailed their season. Particularly, the talisman Virgil van Dijk in the Merseyside derby, Jordan Pickford with his bad challenge, infamously wasn't sent off for. But yeah, they looked all at sea at the start of the year, start of the calendar year. But no, they had a great end to the season. Somehow, against all the odds, finished third. So, consider it was for a while a pretty poor season. To finish third is a great effort. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, shocked, mate. Really, I thought I did think I had this feeling they wouldn't win the season again, win the title again. But I thought they'd be at least second, But they did, like I say, they did finish third, top four. So considering they had a pretty poor time, where they were sort of hovering around seventh at one point, to get up to third, I think was a great result for them. And it goes to show how great Klopp is as a manager, all things considered. I think the injuries let them down. Without a shadow of a doubt,
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, losing Van Dijk for the majority of the season, and even their, the other centre backs, Joel Matip, Joe Gomez, they had to play Nat Phillips a lot of times, and even midfielders Jordan Henderson and Fabinho had to play centre back, and obviously losing them from midfield as well. So and the likes of Roberto Firmino, Sadio Mane were quiet in comparison to previous seasons, but Mohamed Salah scored 22 goals, so he was still in good form. But they lost 6 games in a row at Anfield, mate. Fulham and Brighton, I think they won there at Anfield, and before then, I think it was the Burnley game. It was the first game they lost at Anfield in the Prem for 68 matches, which is
68 games unbeaten.
Yeah, which is unreal. But then they lose 6 in a row. So, but yeah, despite that, they turned it around, mate. So, went the last 10 games unbeaten, which got them a Champions League place. So, yeah, I expect them to be back challenging. A bit of a blip this season, back challenging for the Prem along with Man City next season.
I do as well, yeah, definitely. And then we go up to second, Man United. I predicted they'd be third. You said that they'd make top 4. You said they'd be fourth. So we both, thought they'd have a good season. And they finished second. Very good. Shocking start. But at the end of the day, no trophies. But they did turn it around and challenge. City obviously had a big climb, big lead, so it wasn't a massive. It wasn't like the last day. Who's going to win? We knew City were going to win the title, but I would say it was a good season for them. There's a lot of some fans are thinking, I was listening to TalkSport, etc. Ollie should go if he wasn't, in the Europa League final. It was like a sort of running around not knowing what to do, completely unsure in terms of the tactics. But you're going to make mistakes. It's part of the game. It's part of experience. But I think he's learned from the best, Alex Ferguson, and he's proved that giving him a bit of time, he's got to a European final, and finished second. I think Man United are going in the right direction. Are they the team that's going to win the title next year? They could. It's possible, but I still think it's going to. They're still rebuilding. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, mixed season for Man United. Officially finishing second is a good achievement, especially the terrible start they had. And obviously, me, you, and Lou did a video a couple months in, when they were sounding out Mauricio Pochettino, and they lost at home to Tottenham 6-1 and Palace early on as well. But their away record pretty saved their season, really. They were unbeaten away from home, which is a brilliant achievement. And I think like a lot of clubs, a big summer for United, because if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to stay in the job next season, he's got to be challenging for the Premier League title, and the Europa League final was a big disappointment, and especially it's because they were in the Champions League. They didn't even get in the Champions League group, so that's even more disappointing. So, no, big summer ahead for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So let's finish off, mate, with the champions. It was Man City. You thought they'd win the league, so kudos to you for that one. I thought they finished second, but now another good season for Pep Guardiola, mate.
Yeah, so slow start to the season for Man City. I was wondering what they'd be like after they lost 5-2 at home to Leicester City early on. Dropped just 4 points in a 19-game unbeaten run from November to March. But you know what? They kept going, and eventually was on a great run. We just knew at the end that they were going to win the league. Fantastic season. Also won the League Cup. Got to the Champions League final, but he didn't win that. Chelsea won that.
Yeah, as you say, mate, a very slow start to the season, and looked way off the pace. But that win away at Stamford Bridge against Chelsea was their catalyst, really. They won 3-1 and started playing some really good football. And then, as you say, mate, 19 games unbeaten. It was that period that won them the league, you have to say, and obviously everyone else falling away. Ruben Diaz, the big money signing from Benfica, justified every penny they paid for him, and he's was outstanding this season. Won their Football Writers Association Player of the Year, and rightly so. And Gundogan had a really good season. Scored 13 goals, best of his career, and including against that Chelsea game and away at Anfield against Liverpool. He scored twice, no vital goals. So, in the end, it was a comfortable sort of procession to the title, and won the Carabao Cup as well. Not for the first time, and could have been the treble with a Champions League win, but still another excellent season for them.
No, definitely, and overall a good season. Looking back at it, all things considered. So, we'll see what happens next year.
Yeah, well, at least the crowds will be back from the start of this season, for the start of the following season, which would be great. But I think the standard of football's been pretty good, considering the fans haven't been there for the majority of the games. Look forward to the crowds being back from next season, mate. So thanks for joining, mate. So managed to get some good predictions in there. I had some absolute stinkers as well, but we did a decent job there in the end. So thanks for joining, mate. Thanks everyone for watching. Please subscribe to Garage Football if you're new. Follow us on the socials. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.